Alright, ladies and gentlemen, for today's video, I will be showcasing the best Pokemon build to easily defeat the 7-star Hisuian Decidueye raid in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. But before I go over the Pokemon build, let's first talk about the mighty Hisuian Decidueye. So obviously, he's going to have the mightiest mark, level 100, a grass Terra type. This Pokemon will have a scrappy ability, and with this ability, this Pokemon can hit ghost Pokemon with normal and fighting type moves, and also it blocks Intimidate. It knows the moves Triple Arrows, Shadow Claw, and Leaf Blade. All three of those moves have a high chance of critting you. And for the big damage move is Brave Bird, and on top of that, this Pokemon will use a Bulk Up, a Sword Stance, a Grassy Terrain, and Leaf Storm throughout the battle. In terms of rewards, the base item drops are some large XP candies, some extra large XP candies, some proteins, some calciums, some grass Terra shards, TM 159, which is Leaf Storm, once, and an ability patch once. So basically, when you first defeat the 7-star raid, you're going to get these 8 rewards no matter what, with additional rewards on top of it. But when you challenge this raid again, from then on, you're just guaranteed these 6 drops no matter what, with additional rewards, which are some large XP candies, rare candies, proteins, calciums, star pieces, comet shards, nuggets, adamant mints, PP ups, bottle caps, grass Terra shards, ability capsules, ability patches, and lastly, extra large XP candies. Now let's talk about the Pokemon that you will be using for this raid. I know there are several builds for this raid, but I feel like this one has to be the most easiest to use, plus everyone has access to Toxtricity. With this Pokemon, you don't have to worry about bulking up or doing iron defenses. It's a straightforward strat and guarantees you the victory over Hisuian Decidueye. By the way, it does not matter what form you use. I went with the low-key form because it looks the coolest. I love these colors a lot more. Like, come on, blue and purple, that's a perfect combo. So first thing first, you want your Toxtricity to be level 100. Holding the Shell Bell, make sure your Terra type is Poison. For the moveset, you're gonna want to have Taunt, so you can counter Hisuian Decidueye's Bulk Up and Sword Stance. Then we have Acid Spray, and this move has multiple purposes for this raid. So purpose number 1, we're using Acid Spray to build up our Terra Orb, so we can terrestrialize. Number 2, Acid Spray will lower Hisuian Decidueye's special defense by 2 stages. And number 3, this move goes through the shield, which is absolutely amazing. Then we have Sludge Bomb, and Sludge Bomb comes into play after you get Hisuian Decidueye's special defense down by at least 4 stages. And with this move, it's going to do a nice chunk of damage. And on top of that, Sludge Bomb has a 30% chance of poisoning Hisuian Decidueye, and once this Pokemon gets poisoned, that's when you use Venoshock. It will do double the amount of damage on a poisoned Hisuian Decidueye. However, if the Hisuian Decidueye does not get poisoned, it's okay. You can literally just spam Sludge Bomb for the win. But ideally, you want to get the Hisuian Decidueye poisoned so you can go for some big chunk damage with the Venoshock. Then for the ability, you will have to use an ability patch for this, but you want to have Technician. It's going to power up our Acid Spray move by 50%. For your EVs, use 26 irons, 26 calciums, and 1 HP up. And when it comes to the IVs, you're going to want to hyper train all of them besides attack. And once you do all of that, you are good to go. Now, if you do not have the 7-star Hisuian Decidueye raid in your game, all you have to do is connect to the internet. And as soon as the news pops up on your screen, you're all good to go. But if you don't get this pop-up, all you have to do is simply click on the Poke Portal, of course be connected to the internet, go down to Mystery Gift, and then from there, go down to check Poke Portal news. And once you get the little black box saying your game's updated, the raid will be in your game. Now from this point, you can actually disconnect from the internet and keep that raid in your game as long as you want, so you can farm the rewards. If you guys want to know how to farm this raid, stick to the end of the video. I have a little guide for that. But once you get the raid in your game, all you have to do is look around your map and look for the black grass Terra type raid icon, you know, this one right here. Head over to it, click on it. Of course, we're doing this solo, so you challenge alone. And now here's when the strat comes into play. Ideally, you want to start off with Taunt, then follow that with 2 Acid Sprays, and then do another Taunt. If you do those 4 moves in your raid successfully before he activates his shield, you're good to go. But if you weren't able to get those 4 moves in a row, I recommend just running away from the raid and starting over. But once you get that second Taunt off, the ideal strat from here is just to Acid Spray till you get KO'd, and then as soon as you spawn in, do a defense cheer, which is the hang tough cheer. But after you get the that defense cheer off, you can terrestrialize and use acid spray. Then you go for the sludge bomb, and if the Hisuian Decidueye gets poisoned from the sludge bomb, then you use the Venoshock. But if the Hisuian Decidueye is not poisoned, just spam sludge bomb until the Pokemon gets either KO'd or poisoned, because as soon as the Hisuian Decidueye is poisoned, that's when you go over to Venoshock. Other than that, you just spam sludge bomb or Venoshock depending on the situation till you KO the 7-star mighty Hisuian Decidueye, then use whatever ball you want to catch the Pokemon. However, I will admit this strat will not always go as planned. When I attempted the raid in Violet, I did not have the same amount of success as I did in Scarlet. Literally in Scarlet, my first ever attempt, it was just too easy, everything went my way, and the strat worked flawlessly. But when I hopped over to Violet and transferred my Toxtricity from Scarlet to Violet using Pokemon Home, my first raid attempt was a complete L. I think it's mainly due to my support Pokemon, as I had an Arvala, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce the name, but I like to call it the Olive Pokemon. That Pokemon dropped the grassy terrain, and I also had a Pokemon that burned the Hisuian Decidueye. If you guys did not know, if the Hisuian Decidueye gets burned, he will lose 50% of his attack stat, so he's not going to hit you as hard anymore. But the main issue with my first raid attempt, I wasn't able to get my second taunt off. That's why it was a complete L, but I just feel like those support Pokemon played a part into it. My second attempt, as soon as I saw that Arvala, I just bailed. I didn't want to deal with the grassy terrain. I know the grassy terrain can boost grass type moves, which should be beneficial on you getting KO'd, but I don't want to deal with the grassy terrain till I have to later on in the raid. But when it comes to the third attempt, you can actually see that this strat is quite flexible. It's not always going to go as planned, but it still works for the most part. It's just going to be situational. So let's just get straight into it. I did the 4 mandatory moves of Taunt, Acid Spray, then Taunt. Then after that second Taunt, you're supposed to do an Acid Spray, then get KO'd. But as you can see, the Hisuian Decidueye is burned. And if you recall, when the Pokemon is burned, he loses 50% of his attack stat. So he wasn't hitting me as hard, and I was able to take some extra shots, which resulted in me being able to get 2 additional acid sprays off. So in total, after the second taunt, I was able to get 3 acid sprays. Then I got KO'd, and the first thing I did as soon as I got back into the action was a defense cheer, a hang tough cheer. And since I was able to get those extra acid sprays off, I went for a terrestrialized sludge bomb. Thankfully, it poisoned the Hisuian Decidueye, so I was able to spam Venoshock for the win. So as you can see, this strat is very flexible. Just make sure to get those 4 mandatory moves off. And I'm pretty sure I've not stressed this enough in today's video. You want to get those 4 mandatory moves off before he activates his shield. If the shield goes up before the second taunt, the whole strat is just ruined. That second taunt is to counter his Swords Dance. And he's able to get the Swords Dance off, he's going to be hitting you for a lot more, and it gets quite scary after that. But back on topic, this strat is honestly very flexible. Get those 4 mandatory moves off, and then it just becomes situational. But that is how you defeat the 7-star Hisuian Decidueye raid here in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet with a Toxtricity. I just feel like this method is literally just the easiest way to solo this raid. Make sure not to connect to the internet after this weekend so you can farm these rewards from these raids, which now leads us to our next segment. In order to farm these raids, all you have to do is do the time trick to re-roll your raids in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So the first thing you want to do is open your map. Then you want to make sure you have this view of the map. Look at this little icon. If your yellow dot is in the second position, you're good to go. Then from here, you hit your home button on your Joy-Cons or your controller. Then you go down to System Settings. Then you scroll all the way down to System. Then from here, you're going to scroll all the way down to Date and Time. Make sure to turn off your synchronized clock via internet and go down to Date and Time. Roll this back 1 minute, then hit OK. Go back home, click on your game, and as you can see, all the raids have been re-rolled. Then you just look around your map and find the Black Grass Terra raid den. This is the 7-star raid icon. Then you just rinse and repeat that process over and over again after you beat each raid solo. Then you can just farm as much as you want. But as soon as you connect to the internet after this weekend, the raid's gonna disappear until the next raid dates, which is next weekend. So if you guys did enjoy today's video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, turn on those post notifications, all that good stuff. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them down below in the comment section. Other than that, I'll catch you in the next video. Have a good one.